Admiral Zekthara's four eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical display aboard her flagship. The human vessel Defiant hung motionless in space, dwarfed by the massive hegemony battlecruiser that had it cornered against the asteroid field. By all calculations, this should have been over hours ago. Status report. She clicked through her mandibles, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered 17 star systems. The human ship refuses to surrender, Admiral, her tactical officer reported, his scaled hide rippling with confusion. They continue to broadcast the same message, come and take it. Zekthara's secondary arms twitched in annoyance. Humans were supposed to be a minor species, barely spacefaring for 2 centuries, lacking the advanced quantum weaponry of the hegemony, their ships held together with primitive alloys and chemical propulsion. Yet this single frigate had somehow evaded her fleet for 3 days, leading them on a chase through the Outer Rim territories. Fire another plasma volley, she ordered. Disable their engines. We need at least one alive for interrogation. The hegemony's weapons, sophisticated beyond human comprehension, lanced out toward the Defiant. Zekthara watched with satisfaction as the beams struck true, only to see the human ship suddenly accelerate, its hull glowing red-hot but intact. Impossible, whispered the tactical officer. Their heat dispersion patterns. They're using the asteroid field's metallic composition to conduct away our plasma bursts. Primitive resourcefulness, Zekthara dismissed, though something cold settled in her primary stomach. Launch fighters. End this farce. 50 sleek hegemony interceptors swarmed toward the human vessel. Their pilots were the elite, genetically modified for perfect reflexes and enhanced spatial reasoning. Each fighter carried enough firepower to level a city. Commander Sarah Chen watched the swarm approach from the Defiance bridge, her coffee growing cold in her hand. Around her, the crew worked with the casual efficiency of people who had done this dance before. Remind me again why we're not running? Asked Lieutenant Torres from the helm. Because, Chen replied, taking a sip of her coffee. Tuesday's my day off, and I'm not spending it in hyperspace. She keyed the comm. All stations implement Maneuver 7. The tactical officer aboard Zekthara's flagship watched in growing alarm as the human ship began what could only be described as completely insane. Instead of attempting to outrun the fighters, the Defiant dove straight into the densest part of the asteroid field, a region that their own computers had marked as impassable. They'll be torn apart, someone muttered. But the human ship didn't die, it danced, spinning, rolling, using microgravity wells and magnetic fields in ways that shouldn't have been possible. When the first wave of interceptors followed, half of them were crushed against asteroids they hadn't seen coming, their sophisticated targeting systems unable to compensate for the chaotic gravitational variables. How? Zekthara demanded. Her science officer, a being whose intellect was augmented by quantum processors, studied the readings. Admiral, they're not using computers for navigation. The neural activity signatures suggest manual piloting, with analog instruments. The remaining fighters tried to adapt, but the humans had turned the asteroid field into a weapon. Chunks of rock, carefully nudged by precise thruster bursts, became projectiles. The Defiant used its own hull as a battering ram, trusting in primitive steel plating over sophisticated shielding. Within an hour, 47 interceptors were debris. Zekthara felt her confidence cracking. Bring us closer. We'll finish this with our main guns. Admiral, her first officer warned. Our tactical doctrine advises against— I don't care about doctrine, she snarled. It's one primitive ship. The massive battlecruiser moved forward, its quantum cannons charging, weapons that could crack planets prepared to swat what should have been an insignificant pest. Commander Chen smiled as she watched the alien dreadnought approach. Now they're speaking our language. Torres, remember that trick we learned fighting pirates off Titan? The Crazy Ivan? The Crazy Ivan. The Defiant suddenly killed all power, going completely dark and cold. To every sensor aboard the hegemony ship, it simply vanished, a ghost in the void. Where did it go? Zekthara demanded. The answer came in the form of the human ship reappearing directly above them, having used the asteroid field's metal content to mask its heat signature. But instead of firing weapons they didn't have, the Defiant did something that violated every principle of space combat. It rammed them. Not with some sophisticated kinetic weapon or exotic matter projectile. A simple, straightforward collision at maximum burn. the human ship's reinforced prow striking the alien vessel's quantum cannon array like a hammer blow. Alarm screamed across the hegemony flagship as primary systems failed. The quantum cannons, delicate instruments requiring precise calibration, cracked and went dark. "Damage report," Zekthara screamed. "Main weapons offline. Hull breaches on decks 15 through 22. They've somehow magnetized their hull to our armor plating. We can't shake them." Commander Chen's voice crackled over the comm system, somehow having hacked their frequencies with what their systems identified as Morse code. "Hegemony vessel, this is Commander Chen of the Terran Defense Force. You have 60 seconds to surrender before we do something really stupid." Really stupid? Zekthara found herself asking despite her rage. "Ma'am," Torres called out cheerfully, "the reactor's looking a bit unstable. Should I try to fix it?" "Nah," Chen replied, loud enough for the open channel to pick up. "Let's see what happens." For the first time in her military career, Admiral Zekthara experienced something she had thought herself incapable of: genuine terror. These humans weren't just willing to die, they were treating it like entertainment. We surrender," she whispered. "Sorry, didn't catch that," came the human commander's voice. "We surrender." "Oh good," Commander Chen replied. "For a minute there I thought we'd have to get creative." Later, in the official report to Hegemony Command, Admiral Zekthara would struggle to explain how a single human frigate had defeated her entire battle group. She would use terms like unpredictable tactical methodology and primitive but effective combat doctrine. But in the privacy of her quarters, staring out at the stars, she would remember something that chilled her more than any weapon: the casual way the human commander had sipped her coffee while orchestrating the impossible. They called it primitive tactics. Humans called it Tuesday.